Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It's actually, it's late in the day. I just got back, well, we just got back from marriage counseling. Alex just heated up some chicken fingers, and he is watching The Good Wife. I just got up my drama video and my sister wives reaction video that I filmed earlier before I left. They were uploading while I was gone, and I just posted them, and having a little Diet Dr. Pepper. I wanted to stop at the gas station on the way home. I forgot to ask Alex. I wanted to stop because I haven't bought some of these. It's been probably like a month and a half. I have 2 cans left. Well, now I only have 1 can left after this, but I took this to therapy today, and so I still have like half the can left. So I thought, well, I'll drink this while I'm doing my vlog. It's starting to get dark outside, and it's starting to get a little chilly outside. I almost wore a jacket. And yeah, but I wanted to, so here was my plan, okay? My plan for today was to get up early and not early, but I was going to get up and like be ready filming by like noon. And then I was going to, hey, how are you? That was my neighbor with Tiger like waving down the street. I was going to like film like my drama video, my Peter Watches TV video, all my videos. And then at like 3 o'clock, I was going to start my vlog, and then from 3 to 4, because I took a shower last night after I did my walk and stuff. And then so I didn't have to take a shower today before I left, because I knew I was going to walk tonight, and I'd take another shower tonight. So from 3 to 4, I was going to vlog, then have my vlog up, and then when I came home, my vlog would be done, and then I could just relax. But that's not how the day went. Let me just give you a little preview of how my day went. Are you ready? There is a ladder right out in front of me. So this morning, I knew they were coming out here today to like caulk the side of our house, like all of the condos. They were like caulking the side where they're gonna paint. And then they also like, on the trim, they like label, oh, they caulked it all through there, all around. But they like labeled like where will be like the white trim and where will be the paint, because I guess they're gonna start painting tomorrow. Although it looks like it's gonna rain, so I don't, like right now, look, Alex was like, it's not supposed to rain tonight. I'm like, it looks like it's gonna rain any second. So if it rains tomorrow, then, this is going in and out of focus a lot, isn't it? If it rains tomorrow, then they won't be able to start the painting. But anyway, so I didn't really think anything about it. I didn't think it would be loud or anything like that. I woke up this morning at like 9 o'clock, and they were like walking on the roof, and it reminded me of the roofers. They weren't as loud as the roofers, but these poor guys have been out here all day long. They were like caulking the windows and sealing the windows, walking on the roof. They were doing like something to do with around like where the fireplace, you know, the chimneys are and stuff like that, doing all that. So that's why they were on the roof. But from like 9 o'clock on, it was pretty loud. So I was like, okay, should I not get up? So anyway, I got up about 12:30, and it was just like still super, super loud. And the landscapers were here today. So on top of the landscapers and them walking around on the roof, it was super loud. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just do my vlog today. And if I have to wait until after I get back from therapy to do my vlog, then I'll just do my vlog when I get back from therapy. And I'll just like kind of like do some stuff around the house, clean up a little bit. So I was like cleaning up stuff around the house, because I really didn't think that I was going to have time to film any of the videos. Well, I was out here, because I kept on coming out here to like, you know, check my bird feeders and, you know, the mail, and to really see what was going on out here with all of this, right? All my neighbors were. My next door, they had the grandkids, so he was like walking down the street, and we were talking and stuff like that. But anyway, I kind of wanted to see what was going on, and so it was around 2:30, I think, and I was talking to one of the guys, and the guy was like, yeah, we're getting ready to take a break. And I was like, oh, you are? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna take a break for a little bit. And I was like, okay. And so I came right inside, and I knew that I wanted to get at my Sister Wives reaction, because I watched Sister Wives. Why do I feel like this is so badly out of focus today? Is it because it's getting dark outside? No, it's not too bad, I guess. Anyway, I watched Sister Wives last night, and I took my notes on it, so I wanted to do my reaction to that today. So I knew I wanted to do my Sister Wives reaction. There was like a drama video. I had videos for all my channels, because I hadn't filmed over, you know, in those other channels for a couple days. So I was like, well, first I want to make sure that I get my Peter Watches TV channel video done. So I filmed that. It ended up being like 39 minutes. It was a lot longer than I thought it was. And so I got done with that, and I came downstairs, And they still weren't back. And so I was uploading that video, and I was like watching this video from my drama channel and taking notes on that. And I was like, I think I can get this done and get ready in time to go to get the Uber for marriage counseling. So I filmed my drama video because I was trying to, like, you know, at that point I was like, let's just put, I was either that or I was going to do like a Peterisms video. I was like, no, I think I've got all the information for my drama video. So I quickly filmed my drama video, came downstairs, rendered it, started uploading the Peter Watches TV video, and then it got done uploading while I was like getting ready. It took no time to upload. Or no, it was, so anyway, rendering, I mean, and then I started uploading it, and then I got the drama video, anyway, it doesn't matter, but they were uploading while I was gone. So then I got the Uber. Everything kind of worked out fine. I've been I wanted to bring you guys out the books that I'm reading and show you guys the books I'm reading. Well, I'll get those in a second. But I've been reading the Don't Sweat the Small Stuff book, which I think I read like parts of it years and years and years ago. But I didn't realize, I don't know, I don't remember much of it. I remember little parts that my mom would talk about from here and there, but I don't remember tons of it. And Richard Carlson, I think, is the guy that wrote the book. Maybe he wrote one of these other self-help books. But anyway, I think he's the one that wrote the book. He's passed away since he wrote the book, but he did stress management workshops and counseling, and I didn't realize that. So a lot of it is like talking about like peace and serenity, like picking your battles, like a lot of like recovery sayings, like, would you rather be happy, would you rather be right? And it's like really, really calmed me down. And one of them that I read last night is actually something that I kind of live by anyway. And not all the time, but it's like one of the things that I try to like live by is like, will this matter to you in a year? Or will this matter to you? It's like, I learned this years ago, like, will I really be investing a lot of like time and energy at the end of my life looking back on this one incident? And if I'm not, then why am I borrowing so much trouble about it right now? Like, why am I letting it bother me right now, you know? So that, I read that chapter last night, which is called something like, will this bother you in a year or whatever? So I was thinking about that today, because he's like, you know, these things that we like happen throughout our day, like really can like upset our day, and we allow them to, but then a year from now, we couldn't even tell you what that was that upset us that day, you know? And so it was funny, because tonight I'm trying to get these videos done, I'm trying to get ready, and I was like, just slow down. Like, it's all gonna, even if you show up, because he says something there, like, we think that the worst thing in the world, like, oh, it's called life is an emergency. We act as if life is an emergency, always. And he's talking about how, like, even if we're like 10 minutes late to something, like, yeah, we shouldn't be late to things. But if we are, we act like it's the worst thing in the entire world. And so today I was like, so what if I'm like 5 or 10 minutes late to therapy, you know? Get there safely, get my videos done, whatever. I got there 5 minutes early, actually, and got my videos uploaded and got them filmed. And I was like, you know what? Like, calm is the way to go. I think calm is the way to go, you know? So that's kind of how my day went. But it's funny because whenever I can't, like, people are walking by on the street, I can't really see them because of this ladder out here. But whenever I have, like, a plan for, like, how my day is going to go, I mean, I think it's good to have a plan, but to also be willing to amend that plan, because my plan never goes the way that I want it to go. But anyway, that's been my day so far. Alex is inside, like I said, watching The Good Wife. I think he has... I think he finished, he has 1 season left he's watching, I think. And then he's got Grey's Anatomy, and then there's like some other show that he wants to watch. I'm really wanting to walk when I get done tonight, but I will tell you, last night I took a 2-hour and 5-minute walk last night. I was so proud of myself. I didn't think that I was going to like walk that long. I don't ever think I'm going to walk that long when I leave. And I had started the new Misfortune book. It's longer than I thought it was, because even listening to it at like 2x5 speed, it's still like 4.5 hours long, so it must be like 10 hours or something. Well, it's not the newest one, it's the latest one in the series, March Madness, I think it's called. So, I listened to that. Well, as I was walking, it was so funny how I walked last night. I mean, you guys don't know this area, so it's kind of like, I mean, if I was talking to somebody that lived in this area, they would understand it, but I like walked around the neighborhood, and then my plan was to go that way, but I walked out and I ended up going this street, and then I ended up walking over, and then I went into the other neighborhood, like across the major road. I went into that, which I only do sometimes, and if it's like light outside, I rarely ever do that if it's dark outside. It was light last night when I walked. And so, I walked into that neighborhood, and then I walked like all the way down through that neighborhood. That's where Sarah lives. I walked almost all the way to her. She lives like way at the other end of it. I walked almost all the way to like where she lives, and then I turned around and I came back because it started getting a little dark. And I could have probably walked for another hour last night. I felt so good. I had such a nice walk last night. Got back, and Alex was downstairs. I don't know what he was watching The Good Wife probably when I came back. And I was like, I think I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to take a shower and lay down for a little bit. He was like, okay. Well, I went upstairs, and I like sat on the bed for a second. I was like looking through my phone and whatever. Started the shower, took a shower, and did all the native lotions and this. I'm almost out of the Aveda spray. Now I'm just going to have the chakra sprays. But anyway, did all that and put on comfy pajamas. And at that point, it was still real early. It was like, I mean, early for me. It was like 10 o'clock. And I was going to like lay down. I just was not tired. I was not tired at all. And so I've been like, oh, I talked to Tanya for a long time yesterday too. We talked and caught up on stuff. God, we just got laughing so hard. So I was texting Nikki, and Nikki has been reading the book, The Clown in the Cornfield. And we both bought it, and we're both reading it, and she finished it yesterday. She said she's not going to go on and read the other two. She said it's a slasher book. And I was like, and then I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, I'm not going to really like it. So I was listening to my audiobook, and I came downstairs, and I was like, I need to heat up something to eat, because I was really hungry. So I heated up some stuff to eat. And then I brought home the second half of, or the second half, like it's a movie, the other half of the grilled cheese from Patachou. And so I had that yesterday for dinner. And then I was sitting there. Alex went upstairs. He was like, I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to watch one more episode. I'm going to go to bed, because he was like, I got to get up tomorrow for work and whatever. I was like, okay. I really thought I was going to lay down. I never took a nap last night. I know, can you believe it? No nap. So I sat there, I listened to my audiobook. Oh, what did I watch? Oh, I finished watching The Love After Lockup. It's season 2. And it was where Tracy was getting her hair done and Clint was paying for everything, and they went out to dinner and he proposed to her. I watched that one. Which somebody told me that she's passed away, which is really sad. I didn't know. I think Nikki told me that. I feel like people are constantly telling me who's passed away on this show that I am watching currently, and I'm like, but anyway, so I watched that, and then after I got done with that, I was like, I want to read. I want to read for a couple hours. So I got my books. The Don't Sweat the Small Stuff book, I read like at half an hour, 45 minutes of. I'm like almost halfway through it now. And then I read 4 or 5 entries in Late Migrations by Margaret Rankle. I'm loving that book. I'm absolutely loving it. It's so different than how I thought it was when I first started it. It's almost entirely all childhood memories of her like being at her grandparents' house. This one, she's talking about her mom has this ring that she wears, and that she doesn't even know until later, like in life, that the ring that her, like the engagement ring her dad bought her mom was like, or didn't buy for her. It was like from her it was like from his great-great-grandmother and handed down. But like her parents are like rather poor, and so she doesn't know until later that the ring is kind of ridiculous. Like, she says something about that, like, her mom, like, you know, them living in this, like, apartment or whatever, like, her wearing this big ring or whatever, but she's, like, 6 at the time, and she sits in church, and the sun coming through the stained glass windows, this so reminds me of a kid, something I would have done, and so she, like, twists the ring, and, like, her mom's like, pay attention to what's being said, and she's, like, switching, like, the ring, the diamond in the ring to the light in the stained glass window to the sunshine. And she said something about, like, there's more God in that than in the sermon or something. It's so beautifully written. It's so beautifully written. So I read that. And then I read, the Bubblegum Gang book, but it's not called that. It's called, like, There Is a Haunted House. You guys, it's so bad and so cheesy. It's like one of those, like, it's not even teen, it's like middle grade books, but it's like about this girl. Well, it's these 3 girls. They had, the chapters I read, well, the first chapter I read yesterday, so it's about this girl, she moves to a new town. I think her friend's name is Carla. Carla and Amanda Longfellow, Longstreet, something like that. But anyway, what's her name? Janet? Her mom's name is Claire. I don't know how I remember that. But anyway, so yesterday, when I was reading it, the first chapter I read yesterday was where all the kids had to get up and they had to talk about what they did in the summers. So anyway, I really like that book. I don't know what it is about the book, but I'm like really enjoying it. Hey! I'm like really enjoying the book. Oh, I was like thinking, is it pickleball? This is how my mind works. I saw her walk by and I was like, is it pickleball tonight? And then I was like, what is tonight? Tuesday night. Okay, so Tanya and I are not going to a meeting. Tanya's granddaughter, so like the next month, her grandkids are coming into town to visit. So right now, her like oldest granddaughter is in town visiting for a week. Then when she leaves, like the next two youngest come. So like for the next month, she's like, I can go to meetings in the next month. She's like, but the kennel is full right now because school just let out Memorial Day and all that stuff. And she's like, the kennel is full, and she's like, plus she's in town. And so I was like, I'm totally fine not going to a meeting because we got marriage counseling that I can come home and relax and stuff like that. I'm actually kind of excited to like take a walk, take a shower, read tonight. I had such a nice night last night. It was just such a perfect night. It just was such a perfect night last night. So anyway, that's why Tanya and I are not going to a meeting tonight, because her granddaughter was in town. So so I read that, and then I read the Kayla Stone book, The Edge of Collapse. I have I have like 60 pages left of that book. I really, 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 really like it. I kind of can't wait to read the next one in the series. But anyway, so I'm reading that, I read that, and then I read Clown in the Cornfield, but I only read a chapter. It's interesting, like, when you read books with friends, like, or when, like, you and another friend read the same book, watch the same show, because, like, you might like it and they might not. I understand, like, this is the thing. I know enough of what Nikki likes to read now that I understand why she didn't like this book, but I actually really like this book. And, so it's about this group of kids, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody in case they want to read it, but it's definitely like horror slasher. Horror slasher. It's kind of like a horror movie, but like in a book form. It reminded me because a couple years ago, who was Stephanie Meyer? So she's the one that wrote the Twilight books. Stephanie Perkins wrote one that they made into a Netflix show called, like, You're Not in the House Alone or something like that. I keep on thinking, like, they're gone for the day, but the van is parked right out there. So they must not, I don't know where they are. They must be, like, down there somewhere or something, working on the condos. All my bird feeders, though, are filled right now with birds. They haven't been around here all day because they've been, like, in and out of the yards and stuff. The geese haven't been over here. The ducks haven't been over here. Now the birds are finally coming to the tree. But anyway, so it's about this group of kids, and they're all, like, the popular kids at school. And, like, this tragedy occurs. And then it flashes forward, it's a year later. And this Quinn girl, she moves from, I think it's, like, Philadelphia to this small town in Missouri where her dad is a doctor. And he's, like, taking over the doctor. Like, the doctor passed away. So he's, like, he gets a house with being a doctor. So they move into this house. This house is, like, old, and she can see this factory behind her, like, through the cornfields, and there's, like, this clown, like, this scary clown, like, painted on the side of the thing. But anyway, so it's about her moving into town. I'm not that far into it yet, but I really do like it. I really enjoy it. I don't know. Nikki was like, nothing ever happens in the book. I don't really mind when nothing happens in a book. If I can get into the characters, I really enjoy it. So I read that last night. I ended up reading for, like, 2.5, 3 hours last night. So I got done with that, and then I was like, oh, no. I know what I watched earlier. Oh. So before I even did the reading, when I was eating, I watched Love After Lockup and finished an episode, or almost finished an episode, I think. But after that, when I got done eating, I watched Sister Wives and took notes. So I did that, and then that was when I read, and then after that, I watched Squid Game. So I have 2 episodes left. I have 6 and 7. Okay, I did not know this until tonight when we were in therapy. So our therapist really loves, like, anything like he and Alex, like, they both love Game of Thrones, and so anyway, I was asking him tonight, he loves, like, all that kind of, like, you know, science fiction-y, world building stuff, and I said, have you watched Squid Game? He was like, oh yeah, he was like, I love it, and I was like, okay, I was like, have you watched the second season? And he was like, no, because the second part's not out yet, and I want to wait until the whole part's out. I go, what do you mean? He goes, they split up the second season. I go, oh, I thought it was the 3rd season coming out. I go, now that makes total sense, because if you watch the second season, like, I've got 2 episodes left of the second season. When you watch it, I'm like, how are they going to tie this all together in 2 more episodes? Like, there's no way. It's getting so cold out here. There's so much that's happened that I'm like, how are they possibly... I'm like, did I take my allergy medicine? I'm like, how are they possibly going to tie all this up in 2 episodes? There's just no possible way. So when he said that tonight, he said that they split it up. I was like, oh, that makes total sense now. Like, it's a 2-part... I hate when Netflix does that 2-part series. So I'll finish that tonight, and then last night, I don't know if... I'm going to have to go inside and get my coat. I'm going to go inside and get my coat, and then I'm also going to... My legs are kind of cold, too, but I don't want to put on pants yet. I'm going to also get the books that I'm reading. And it looks like there's a package. I'm like, am I getting a package right now? Alex got a package earlier. They went the other way. So I'm going to get the books, and then I'm going to get my coat, and I will be back in... I don't know that I'm going to vlog for a real long time tonight because I'm tired, and it's starting to get cold out here. So I will be back in 2 and 2. Okay, I'm back. Got my coat, got my books. So we'll do a little show and tell. I forgot one book that I'm reading, too. Okay. Yeah, like I said, this might be... I don't know, I'll end up saying this and watch, I'll just talk for an hour and a half, but probably not. I'm tired tonight. I'm even kind of in my head trying to talk myself out of my walk a little bit. Because the thing is, okay, so I start taking my walk, and like the last couple times I've been like, I'm just going to walk for half an hour, and then I start walking, and I'm like having so much fun, and I'm really enjoying it that I just keep on walking and walking and walking. But then before I know it, the nights kind of got away from me, and I'm tired. Like, last night I got really tired. Like, I know people are going to be like, well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Why wouldn't you be tired? 3 o'clock in the morning is like nothing for me. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon for most people. So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning last night. I like looked at the clock, and I was like, I am so tired. I was like, just go to bed. And I was like, no, you got to watch your shows. You got to watch your shows. Okay, so these are the books that I'm reading currently. So here's the Bubblegum Gang. I'm so excited about my show and tell. Okay, so this is the Bubblegum Gang by Cynthia Blair, and it's called There's No Such Thing as a Haunted House. And this is book 1 of the Bubblegum Gang. And this is the bookmark that I have with it. The bookmarks are very important. Okay, so that's book 1. Book 2 is Lie With Me by Philippe Besson, translated by Molly Ringwald. This is the gay book that I'm talking about. And I am on page 59, and here's the bookmark for that. And I am on page 59, I think it's 123 pages. No, 148 pages. So I'm about a third of the way through this. This is slow. It's good, but it's slow. I think I saw it on a list of, like, best gay books that came out last year or something. You know what? The walk might be out of the... I mean, it looks like it's going to start pouring down rain any second. Okay. Then this is Clown in a Cornfield. And you can see there's like a clown in there and all that kind of stuff. It's got a lot of... by Adam Cesar. I don't know. Here he is. Oh, here he is. This feels like a booktube. People, I know somebody's going to be like, this should be in a booktube video. It should, but it's not. Is a New Yorker who lives in Philadelphia. He's the author of Video Night, The Summer Job, Tribesmen, and others. He also has a YouTube review show called Project Black T-Shirt. Oh, I have to watch that, where he discusses horror films and pairs them with reading suggestions. Oh, that's smart. I have to watch that. I almost ripped this out, because I always rip stuff. Why did I almost rip that out? So this is Clown in a Cornfield. Let's see what the bookmark is. Oh, Freddy Krueger. So anyway, I'm only in chapter 2. It's not that far. But anyway, I like this. Yeah, winner of the 2020 Bram Stoker Award for Superior Achievement in Young Adult Novel. But like right here, Clive Barker, an author who knows how to make us afraid. And then Paul Tremblay, who's like one of my favorite horror writers. He wrote Cabinet Into the World. Adam Cesar's Clown in a Cornfield starts as a fun and scary retro slasher, but then cleverly twists and bloodies its way into being a very new kind of beast. Rejoice, horror fans new and old, and be terrified of Adam's everyday clowns. Madame Leroux, who is like a huge young adult horror writer. I mean, this got a lot of good reviews on it. Okay, so that. And then I'm reading Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it was Richard Carlson. Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff. I'll talk about some of these in here that I liked in a second. And then this is Late Migrations by Margaret Rankle. Yeah, I'm about a third of the way through it right now. And it's got beautiful art in it, too. So. Oh, this is the one. It was called Faith, Birmingham, 1970. I take my mother's hand and point it towards the light. I twist it to make the light catch each facet of the diamond on fire. It's good. You guys, it's really good. It's not what I thought it would be. And then my favorite right now, though, is the Edge of Collapse book by Kayla Stone. And this is book 1 of Edge of Collapse. And you can see I'm like more than half the way through. Somebody sent me this, all this New York Times stuff, or New York Public Library. They sent me 2 t-shirts, this postcard, which I use as a bookmark that I absolutely love. So I'm on chapter 37. These are really good if you like post-apocalyptic books. But I will say, the cover kind of ruins it for me because they're not even anywhere near a town yet. And you can see there's cars on the side of the road. And then this is the dog. His name is Ghost. And this is Hannah. And this is Liam. So you know that they're like doing okay. So that was my night last night. Tonight, I gotta put these in order. Tonight, I'm gonna read, hopefully walk, unless I talk myself out of it. I don't know, I gotta eat something too. I'm really hungry right now. These kids just keep on running up and down this, or riding up and down the street. Okay, so let me tell you the chapters of this Don't Sweat the Small Stuff that I liked last night. Have you guys heard of this book before? Well, first of all, here's my bookmark for this one. If you truly love a book, you should sleep with it, write in it, read aloud from it, and fill its pages with muffin crumbs. It's a quote. So anyway, this was, I think I showed this on here before. This was a gift to my aunt, to my mom. But what I love about it is, my mom, like, I don't know if you can see this, but this next chapter, 39, is called Practice Humility. And you can see there's like, my mom's like asterisked it, starred it, and she's like underlined in it, which is very cool. Because then I can see like which ones like meant a lot to my mom. Who's texted me? Where did I start? Yesterday. Oh, I must have read more than this I thought. Well, this one was a good one. I really like this one. Be aware of your moods and don't allow yourself to be fooled by the low ones. Okay, so this is talking about, I thought this was such a great idea. Great philosophy. That like if you ask somebody like about their job on a day that's like they're in a good mood, they'll be like, oh, my job's okay, you know, or like, oh, I love my job, whatever. But if you ask them on a day that they're in a bad mood, they'll be like, I hate my job sucks, blah, 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 whatever. Not all people. This is just a generalization he makes in here. He's very fair to also saying, like, and you have the right to feel this way, you have the right to feel that way. He's like, you know, it's interesting, like, how your mood affects. So, but a lot of times we try to fix problems when we're in bad moods instead of trying to fix our mood. Which I think is interesting when you think about it that way, right? Like, maybe the issue is not the problem that you're trying to fix. Maybe the issue is that you're in a bad mood or life is not going well for you right now. And so everything is reactionary to you in life, that you're like super, super reactionary to everything in life. Instead of, it's not all this other stuff. It's not somebody else doing this to you. I mean, maybe that is true, but maybe your reaction to it is the fact that you've been in a bad mood lately, or today you're in a bad mood, and so you're reacting differently. Like, if I ask you, like, if I said to you, okay, like this is a good example. Like me waking up on a day, like I was in a good mood today. I'm peaceful and I'm calm. Okay, so I couldn't film all the videos I wanted to. People had to work outside, whatever. I'm grateful that they're even doing this. I'm in a good mood. If you had asked me in a day, let's say 6-8 years ago, when I was in a bad mood and I was very reactionary, I'd be like, I can't effing make my videos and blah, 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 whatever. And that would have been kind of how I would react to things, you know? And so when I was reading it, I was like, God, this is so true. Like, how we often address situations or deal with problems in our life has so much to do with our mood. And so what he was saying was, you don't necessarily always need to fix the problem, you need to fix your mood. And I'm like, that's so true though, isn't it? By the way, I just want to share this. So, with Caroline, probably 2 months, well, it was before we went to Mexico and Miami, or Miami and Mexico, I went and had a bunch of my batteries replaced in my watches. Do you guys remember that? And one of my favorite watches is this wood watch that I don't ever wear anymore. I got so many compliments on it in the past. I love it. I don't ever wear it anymore because the battery was dead on it. But I took it inside. I took it in, and he was like, you know, this is like, you wind it up, right? He's like, you don't need to replace the battery. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, it's motion censored. He's like, so you wind it up, but then when you wear it, it just like automatically goes. I was like, oh, so it's not automatic, it's manual. I get it. So anyway, I wore that tonight because I hardly ever wear this watch anymore. But anyway, okay, so that was one of them that I read. I don't know where I started last night. Why does this pillow feel like it's rising up? I feel like it's in the 40s pages when I started. Yeah. This was the day before, I think. Yeah, this was the day before. Lower your tolerance to stress. Once a week, write a heartfelt letter. Imagine yourself at your own funeral. What would you want people to say? Like, that's how you should live your life, is how you would want people. Repeat to yourself, life isn't an emergency. That so many of us live our lives as if we have to, like, get so much done. And we have to do this, and we have to do that, and we have to do this. When life is not an emergency. Like, why are we rushing through things, you know? And some of us are going to live to be 60, and some of us are going to live to be 105. And we all, like, so many of us live. And he talks in here so much about taking time to rest and not doing too much and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, experiment with your back burner. That was one where he's kind of talking about, like, anyway. Spend a moment every day thinking of someone to thank. I love this one so much, where you just think of somebody, you think of somebody in your life that you want to thank for being there for you or teaching you something, whatever. It even says in there that it doesn't have to be somebody that, like, you're friends or family with. It can be somebody you don't even know. You can write a letter to, like, a movie star if you want to, or somebody that taught you something from years ago, or somebody that maybe is gone, you know? Smile at strangers, look into their eyes, and say hello. Set aside quiet time every day. And I love this one because I've talked about this for the last couple of years, that for me every morning, like when I do my prayers and meditations, I just sit kind of like with nature and the universe, and it centers me, right? And it does a couple things for me. How are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
Good. It does a couple things for me. It like makes me really realize, you guys heading home?
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It does a couple things for me. Do you need any help? No?
You're fine.
Okay. It does a couple things for me. Like, it centers me, and it also makes me realize, I think when I say things like this, sometimes it's perceived as being, oh, they're taking it down there. Like, putting myself down. I don't mean it that way at all. But when you realize how small you really are in the grand scheme of things, like to the whole world and the whole universe, right? Like, we're literally like ants. The reason why it's important sometimes to see it that way is not to diminish our value, our worth, our importance, because all that's important. It's to make us realize that sometimes what seems huge to us, that we're making huge deals out of, are, in the grand scheme of things, they really aren't that big a deal at all, okay? Oh, so you forgot a certain kind of beans for your chili? The world's going to move on. Do you know what I mean? You overslept and didn't make it to an appointment? Reschedule the appointment. Life's going to move on. You know what I mean? It's like, I think we get bent out of shape about stuff that, in the grand scheme of things, it's like, and so he talks in here about life is, and they all kind of go together. Life is not an emergency, but then set aside time every day, quiet time to yourself. And he says, even if it's like in the shower, in the bathroom, like, you know, driving to work, sitting on your front porch for a couple minutes, but a couple moments just to be silent. No noise in your head. Just listening to the bird. It's one of the reasons why I love the birds. The birds slow me down. I feel like since I've gotten the bird feeders, I have felt so much more calm and peaceful. I know it sounds corny, but the birds have really helped me, because I watch them and I'm like, you know, they're just kind of flying from place to place. They're looking for food. I think about, like, where are they going to? They're sleeping in their nest. You know, I mean, it's like their lives are not deep. You know what I mean? And when you realize that that is life, just as much as we are life, it slows it all down, the whole process, you know, and makes you, I don't want to be like hurrying through life and rushing things and feeling like I have to get all this done and this done and this done and this done. And I have that in my head. Like, that's something I fight all the time, you know, is like checking off things on a list. And I remember my dad said to me one time, like, it's like, you make this, like, life is like a big checklist, and once all the things are checked off, then your life's over, and you look back on it, and you're like, well, what now, you know? I think practicing of just being quiet and being still and just, you know, thinking to yourself is such a good, he talks about this being a strategy that he does every day. Imagine the people in your life as tiny infants and 100-year-old adults. And so he's talking about, like, when people irritate you or they annoy you, or you're having issues with people, or you have a lot of hatred towards somebody or a lot of anger, you know, imagine them as this little infant and what you would think about that, you know, or as like this 100-year-old adult, because we're all infants. And and he says in there, whether we live to be 100 or we're all going to be 100, whether we live or die, you know, like our bodies will be. But to imagine ourselves at that age, you know, as like an older person, and, you know, and maybe looking at that as a different way to, like, when you're interacting with somebody, and then how to look at them and how to perceive them and how to judge them and all that kind of stuff. If your goal is to become more peaceful and loving, we certainly don't want to harbor negativity towards others. And one way of doing that is by seeing them as infants or older people, you know. Seek first to understand. I love this one so much. And it's a lot about also listening instead of always, like, talking over people, which I'm not great at. It's one of the things I'm really practicing. But seeking to understand, my mom had this one heavily underlined. Seek first to understand is knowing that when you're having a conversation with somebody and you really want them to understand where you're coming from, like, we feel like it's very important that that person understands where we're coming from. How often do you ask yourself, maybe first I should understand where they're coming from? And he talks in here about, I mean, each of these, you guys, is literally like a page, like this is 2 pages, okay? Seek to understand. And he's in here and he's talking about how when you're focused on other people understanding where you are coming from, you've stopped listening to what they're saying. You've stopped trying to understand where they're coming from or what they're trying to explain to you, and you no longer care, and it's really like ego-filled and selfish, you know. And I love that one. Become a better listener is the one that follows that. Choose your battles wisely. I mean, a lot of these are self-explanatory. Be aware of your moods and don't allow yourself to be fooled by the low ones. That's the good mood versus the bad mood. Life is a test. It is only a test. He's talking about this poster that he saw. And when you look at everything in life as being something like, it's supposed to teach us something. So when you're going through something, instead of getting stuck in self-pity and woe, but instead being like, what can I learn from this situation? What am I going through, right? And he also says something in here kind of funny. What does he say? I think of this humorous bit of wisdom. It reminds me not to take my life too seriously. He says, see if you can apply this idea. Seeing this issue as a test ultimately helped me. I still struggle now and then about my perceived lack of time, but less than I used to. It's become far more acceptable to me to accept things as they are. So he's talking about accepting things as they are. Praise and blame are all the same. This one is so powerful. He's talking about one of the most unavoidable lessons is having to deal with the disapproval of others. But when you look at like attention and, you know, that you get from other people, that in many ways disapproval feels very similar to approval, you know, and how it's perceived in our brains and things like that. And he goes in here and talk about that our approval rating from friends, family, and people is likely to be much higher than people that we don't know and things like that. And he's talking about like electoral votes. And he's like, you know, if like a president gets like 55% of the vote, he's supposed to be president to the 45% of the people that don't like him, right? Like, and you can't do anything really about that, you know? Like, there's always going to be, I mean, it's really basically a lesson in that there are going to be people out there that don't like you. The sooner we accept the inevitable dilemma of not being able to win the approval of everyone we meet, the easier our lives will become to realize that not everybody is going to like us, you know? And then it says in here that rather than feeling rejected by disapproval, you can remind yourself, here it is again, that's okay. You can learn to be pleasantly surprised, even grateful, when you receive the approval you were hoping for. Practice random acts of kindness, which I love that one. Look beyond behavior. This one was interesting to me because in recovery we talk about principles before personalities. And what he's really talking about here is that when you look at how somebody acts towards you, right? Like, the example he gives is like raising teenagers or raising like, you know, toddlers. and that they may do something that you don't like, they're trying to get a cookie from the cookie jar, they break the cookie jar, and in that moment you're pissed, but you still love your child, right? You still love your child. I think this is a concept that's hard for so many people to understand, that you can love somebody but not like their behavior. The person is not necessarily entirely their behavior. That they're more complicated and more complex than just that. And so he talks in here about when you're having an issue with somebody, look past their behavior and try to find those things that you do love about them. Like, instead of always looking for what you don't like about somebody, look for what you do love about them. You know, what you do like about them. He's like, and isn't that so hard? Isn't it easier to not like people? See the innocence. He's talking about in people's motives and things like that. Choose being kind over being right. This is, my mom had this one all underlined. This is the idea of being happy over being right. The need to always constantly correct people. He says in there, it's interesting, he says, you have chances to point out someone their mistakes, to get things wrong, things they could have, should have done differently, ways they can improve, things that they said incorrectly. You have chances to correct people privately as well as in front of others. What all these opportunities amount to are chances to make someone else feel bad and yourself feel bad in the process. I thought, well, that's interesting. But it goes in here and talks really about the time we exert on, if we spend as much time on being happy as we do on being right, and you know, none of these lessons are anything that I have figured out by any means. You know, I'm like, this is why I need to read the book, so I can still, you know, these books are reminders to me of things I learned when I was 5 and I'd forgotten somewhere along the road. Tell 3 people today how much you love them. I love that one. And then practice humility, and that's where I'm at right now. So, yeah, and the book is 244 pages. No, wait. 246 pages. And I'm on page 100 right now. So, about halfway through that. What is the last one? My mom highlighted something. Should we read it? I felt it appropriate to end this book by suggesting that you live each day as if it were your last on the earth. I suggest this not as a prescription to be reckless or to abandon your responsibilities, but to remind you of how precious life really is. A friend of mine once said, life is too important to take too seriously. 10 years later, I know he was right. I hope that this book has been and will continue to be helpful to you. Please don't forget the most basic strategy of all. Don't sweat the small stuff. I will end this book by sincerely saying that I wish you well. Treasure yourself. I don't know why that gets me teary-eyed. You know, in there he talks about Stephen Levine wrote this book called, I think it's called A Year to Live. And what's so bizarre about it is, on my Peterisms channel a couple times, I've talked about like how I wanted to like read the book again and read it. You know, I have like 3 copies of it. And so I remember when my mom was in the hospital, I can remember myself, she was getting some appointments. I think maybe it was before she was in the hospital. I mean, I did not know that my mom, like at this time, was going to be dead in like 3 months, right? But I remember being downstairs in the hospital. I think she was getting some tests done. And I think it was right before she went into the hospital the second time. So it would have been like 2 months before she passed away. She was getting some tests done, and I was waiting for her to get her tests done. And there was like a piano player downstairs in the lobby of the hospital, and the piano player was playing what's that song? Claire de Lune. I love that song. And I was reading this book, and it was basically like this guy, I should look it up and give you guys a better synopsis about it, but basically saying like if you have a year to live, you know. Stephen Levine, I think is his name. Year to Live. Here it is. Yep, here it is. This is the exact copy that I have right there. Stephen Levine's A Year to Live is a guide to living each day mindfully as if it were your last. The book is not just about dying, but about renewal and revitalizing your spiritual, emotional self. Levine, a pioneer in grief and death counseling, believed that unexpressed grief can harden the heart and diminish one's sense of life. What is this? Like a blog entry or something. Oh no, it's like a, for the book. Where is it? Where is it at? This is something about when Stephen Levine posed this question to himself. It led to a profound year-long experiment in conscious living. If you had a year to live, how would you spend it? Well, one of the things, so one of the chapters, it was from the night before, Richard Carlson says, if you had 1 hour left to live and one phone call left to make, who would you call and what would you tell them? I think it's a really, really powerful question when it puts in perspective of who's important to us in life, who, you know, and what would you say to them, you know, if you could. Oh my God, there's a red, oh, as I'm talking about this, there's a red cardinal. Somebody told me the other day, they felt really bad about it, but they're like, I said, oh, I posted a picture of a cardinal on my Instagram, and I said, oh, she's been here all day long, meaning my mom, because, you know, my mom said she'd come back as a cardinal because she loved cardinals, and somebody commented and they said, really bright red cardinals are male, and I said, oh, I was referencing my mom. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, no, my God, no, don't worry about it at all, like, but now that I know, and I feel like I said to her, I feel like I looked it up in my vlog not too long ago, and I knew that like bright red cardinals were male and like the brownish red ones were female. But now that I know that, every time I see a bright red cardinal, I'm like, I don't know. Now it's like, before I just be like, oh, my mom. I also did not realize that when my mom said that to me, how universal cardinals are to grief. like I have seen so many things that say like, if you see a cardinal, it means somebody that you love that's passed away has come to visit you. It's you know, it's interesting, like, I love listening to audiobooks. I love the narration of it. I love the storytelling of it. I think it reminds me a little bit, you know, I listened to the radio tapes when I was growing up, the old-timey radio tapes, like The Shadow and all that stuff. My mom and I listened to those, Fibber McGee and Molly, and one of them, we would do like the Something Playhouse, and they would do like all the movies that were out, like Sorry, Wrong Number with Barbara Stanwyck and things like that. And I think North by Northwest. I have them all on tape down in my basement. Because I used to have this, so I have this old-time radio that my mom bought me one year. So I love all of those, right? But what's funny about it is that, and my mom would also read to me when I was a kid. My dad read to me too. And then I can also remember listening, I remember the Alice in Wonderland one. I can remember listening to the books where they would beep and then you would turn the page. Do you remember that? You play the record and then it would beep and then you would turn the page. I think I've always had like this fascination with listening to like books being read to me. It's not, it goes a lot deeper than, I mean, I love listening to audiobooks, but it goes a lot deeper than that to me. It's also so much about like, I can remember like when I was working in treatment, when I was getting my master's degree, my job was that I was a liaison between the treatment facility and the Department of Corrections. And so I would go to courtrooms, probation officers, or probation departments, you know, Department of Corrections, things like that, jails. And I would do evaluations on people. Well, I drove all over the state. I've told these stories before. I drove all over the state. And so I would like, oh, the Cardinal's back. I would, Margaret Wrinkle in her book talks about this really aggressive cardinal that comes in her yard and like towards the end of the summer drives like all the finches away. Because, like, the cardinal's trying to, like, save the food for winter and stuff like that. It's just this whole story about it. But anyway, I remember when I had that job, I would, like... So, if I was going to drive up north, I would, like, do, like, 3 different evaluations in, like, Grant County, which is, like, Marion, Indiana. It's, like, way north. It's, like, 2.5 hours north. And then I would do, like, Howard County, which is like Kokomo. Anyway, I would do it was counties. We had county contracts. And so I would do these counties. But anyway, so I'd be on the road, you know, like most of the day. And I would just like, I would go, I can remember like to Half Price Books, and I would buy books on tape. They didn't even have them on CD at that time. And so I started, because I want to go back in and listen to Patricia Cornwell books, the Case Scarpetta ones. I think I've only listened to like the first 3, but I listened to them on book on tape. And I loved them. And I can remember they were like, oh my God, these were so scary and all this kind of stuff. But that was really where my love of like audiobooks started. And then I remember, I think it was like Tyler Oakley and Gigi Gorgeous were doing like an Audible sponsorship on their channel. And that's how I found out about Audible. And then just fell in love with Audible. I will always love listening to audiobooks. I just love it. But I forgot how much because I didn't do it for like a year. Really, I mean, I did from time to time, but not much until The Comfort of Crows. And, you know, really at Christmas time with the what do you call it, the Advent Calendar books, did I really start to, like, read physical copy books. And now I love it. I forgot how much I love it. And it just really, like, slows my mind down, and it really calms me so much that when I'm sitting there, you know, I'm always having like a cup of decaf or a cup of coffee or something like that. I've got all the candles lit. I've got my lights around, you know, my neck. And I'm so just calm and serene in that moment. And I think that's kind of like, you know, we always talk about these next phases of our life. Like, in the next phase of my life, I'm going to be this. I think the next phase of my life, or the phase that I'm in right now, the camera stopped. I honestly didn't know that I would even make it past like 30 minutes tonight. I was so tired. I think the phase that I'm in right now, maybe not even the next phase, is that I'm consciously looking for things that calm me down and bring peace to my life. Whether it's reading or walking or, you know, whatever. Listening to audiobooks, listening to music, taking naps. And there's just a calmness that I have seemed to find. For a long time, and I think this is the anxiety piece, and I think this is also OCD, I really struggled with having peace and calm in my life because I felt like, I really believe this is also a direct result of the accident. And then, they're so completely different things, but I think the accident and then a year later having pancreatitis. Was that a year later? Yeah, I think I didn't ever feel like I could relax or be calm because I always felt like, when is the next shoe gonna fall? Like, when is the next thing gonna happen? And so I never felt like I really could relax. And I think that one of the things I've learned in the last couple years, I mean, when I say this, I don't say this as like a dangling a carrot in front of your head. I hope that it never comes across that way. There's just a lot of things I've never shared online, partly because they really aren't my story to tell. It's things that have to do with my friends or things that have to do with family or whatever. Not really even so much family, but friends of mine and some people that I've never even talked about on camera. But things that are, you know, I mean, right now I've got things that are going on. We all do, right? But it's not that, like, I'm keeping it from anybody or anything like that. It's just, it's not my story to tell. But that doesn't mean that, like, every day I'm not, like, you know, talking to people on the phone, worried about people, checking in with people, things like that, you know? Praying on people, worried about things. And I think that one of the lessons I've really learned in the last couple years, as horrible as a lesson it is to learn, is that, and it's something that I guess I always knew, is that we have very, very little control over things that are going to happen in this world. We have control over how we react to those things, but not even necessarily the outcome of what's going to happen. And so, as scary as it is to let me just throw that into the wind, and by saying that, I don't mean, like, I think it's still important to keep up on your health and make sure you pay your bills and you're taking care of stuff. It's not just being negligent, right? But it is, to some degree, throwing it to the wind, being like, I can't control everything. And so what's going to happen is going to happen. And if I have to deal with it, I'll deal with it. And if I don't, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I can remember, like, the phone call getting from my dad being like, you need to come to the hospital. Like, your mom is at the hospital. It's not good, you know? And, like, I never expected to get that call that day, you know? I don't even, to be honest with you, like, I don't even really still love, like, talking about the accident. You know, I don't love talking about it. But another example, there's so many, you know, that, like, I think for so long I lived like this. Like, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? And I think there's anxiety that comes out of that. I think the OCD came out of that as a result of trying to control whatever in the world that you had no control over anyway. And I think that at some point I just had to be like, my peace of mind and my serenity is more important to me than trying to control things that I can't control anyway. And so is yours. You know, my old sponsor, well, my two old sponsors both passed away in the last couple of years, but my one sponsor said to me, he'd say a lot. He'd say 90% of the things we worry about never even happen. Well, I lived my life that way. Since being a child, I lived that way, you know? And then I think it's like this game starts happening in your head, you know? I can remember, like, as a kid being so worried about, like, going to school and what was going to happen, and then that day nothing happened, and then being like, is it going to be worse tomorrow because nothing happened today? You know, it's like that, and I think a lot of the OCD actually comes from that. It's like this exterior sense to try to control stuff, and it's like, when you look at the world and you look at how it happens, I don't know. Worrying about it never made it better for me. It just prolonged it. I think it's important to worry about people in our lives, but to the point where we're no longer helpful to them, or we're hurting ourselves, or we're you know, not helping ourselves. I think that's a problem. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. All I know is that in my life today, I'm looking for things that bring me peace and serenity. I'm looking for things that slow my mind down. I'm looking for things that bring me genuine happiness. I'm looking for things that make me smile. And even the things that don't make me smile, that make me sad. I want to feel them fully. I don't want to exert a lot of energy or waste a lot of time and energy on things that, like, it's a year from now I'm not going to be thinking about. I just don't. And I've done that so much of my life. I've spent so much of my life in the moment focused on things that a year from now I don't even remember, you know? How many times have you, like, been so in something in the moment, and then a year later somebody brings it up and you go, God, I hardly even remember that happening. But if you look back on that time, it literally consumed you for, like, days. Like, I can't do it anymore, you know? And we were in therapy today, and I told Alex, like, we've been kind of going back and forth with trips and stuff like that. I'm like, we need to schedule some trips. Like, we've got money saved, our bills are paid, we're good, we need to schedule some trips. And Alex was like, I agree. And I was like, you know, my friend that passed away, you know, last week, I think being close to me in age really shook me. It really reminded me, like, of the Margaret Rinkle quote in her book, Comfort or Crows, where she says, we live as if we have unlimited time. None of us do. I've had an amazing life. I am 52. I'm going to be 53 next month. I've had an amazing life. I don't want to go tomorrow at all. I'm not ready to go, but I'm grateful for the life that I've had. And in all honesty, I have had, I don't know, and then it takes me back to the accident and other things where I think maybe I shouldn't even be here, you know? And then makes me grateful for another day alive. It's the first thing I say in my prayers every night. I'm grateful for another day alive to enjoy this world and do the best that I can do. And, but I want to enjoy it the most that I can. And you should too. And you should too, because I think that that's something that I got way late in life. I think that's the thing, right? Like, we appreciate the relationships with family when they're almost all gone, you know? Or, I mean, I love to be around Alex's family now, my family, in a way that I wish I would have really known and valued when my family was here, you know? But I was too young, and I don't know. I wish I wouldn't have spent as much time consumed with things that I can't even remember what they were. But I was, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It just doesn't matter. It just does not matter. And, however many days I have left here, I want to live them with people that I love, and I want to live them with peace and serenity in my heart and be as happy as I can and try to make other people happy and enjoy life. And, you know, that's why I like to make videos, and I'm grateful for you guys because you allow me to have this cool life, you know? And, but the peace and the serenity, the looking at the birds, the reading, all of it slows things down for me. And I think that's what I'm trying to find right now, is a slowing down of things. Not to stay alive forever. I don't even know that I want that anymore, which is weird. Because if you had asked me when I was 20, I'd be like, yeah, I want to be alive forever. I don't even know that I want that anymore. But I know that while I'm here, I want to enjoy the time that I have. And when I look back on my life, there's long periods in my life where I was focused on negativity or anger or fear or resentment, and I don't want to do that anymore. I just don't. It's just not worth it. It is just not worth it, the time that I wasted. You know, the time that I wasted. It's just like, have you ever been to, like, you're at a party, okay, let's say, and you're there, and, like, I can think about this with some of like my exes, and you're so pissed at the person that you're with, you know, and you're just like, F them, and blah, 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 whatever. It's like, you don't remember the party, you remember the fight. When I look back on my life, I want to remember the party. I don't want to remember the fight. It's just not worth it, you know? Look at all these books I'm reading. Books! Books, I tell ya! Books. Anyway. This was kind of a different kind of vlog today, wasn't it? It was kind of like just lots of thoughts and things like that. Truth be told, I didn't really do a whole lot in the last 24 hours, so it's not like super exciting. Our marriage counseling session was rather boring. We didn't really have much to talk about today. And I was kind of caught up and asked him about his wedding and his honeymoon. And yeah, it was nice. Alex and I checked in with each other on our way home, talked a little bit when we got back here, and I'm like right on the fence of taking a walk. I'm like, I've walked, should I just take a day? Tell me I should just take a day. See, but even though I ask that, there will be people that be like, Peter, take a day. You need to take a day. You need to not overstress yourself. Then there'll be other people that don't take a day. Don't take a day. And then I'm like, do I? I don't know. I won't know until the vlog is like rendered and then I can upload it. Then I'll know if I'm taking my walk or not. So I'm either going to take a walk, and if I take a walk, then I'll take a shower, and then I'll read and do all this stuff. Or I'm going to go make something to eat while I'm uploading this vlog, and then I'm going to lay down and take a little bit of a nap. So either way, it'll be a good night. All right, I'm going to get off here now. I hope you guys are having a magically amazing Tuesday. If nobody else has told you this today, you know I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.